Think your city's built to last? Think again. When the next recession slams into the economy, some places won't just take a hit, they'll fall apart. We're talking about cities hanging by a thread, where a single economic shakeup could bring the whole house of cards crashing down. What happens when the factories shut down, tourism dries up, and the industries propping up entire communities vanish overnight? These cities are already walking a tightrope, drowning in debt, clinging to unstable jobs, or stuck in poverty traps. If your hometown shows up on this list, the next financial storm might be its last. These are the 10 U.S. cities that are most likely to collapse first in a recession. Number 10, Orlando, Florida. The city where dreams come true, until they don't. Orlando is fueled by tourism, magic, theme parks, conventions, and entertainment. But it's a fantasy built on fragile ground. When people stop traveling, the city's economy freezes. During the COVID-19 shutdowns, Orlando saw unemployment skyrocket to over 20%. Even by 2024, many residents still struggle to find stable work. With rent prices climbing and wages stagnant, another economic downturn could turn this tourist utopia into a financial nightmare. Number 9, St. Louis, Missouri. Once a booming industrial hub, St. Louis has struggled for decades. The population keeps shrinking, neighborhoods are riddled with abandoned buildings, and crime rates remain stubbornly high. The city's economy leans heavily on healthcare and education, sectors vulnerable to budget cuts in a recession. Unemployment here tends to spike fast during downturns, and nearly a quarter of the city's residents live in poverty. One more hit, and St. Louis could spiral into deeper decline. Number 8, Stockton, California. Stockton made headlines in 2012 when it became one of the largest U.S. cities to declare bankruptcy. Though it's tried to rebuild, its recovery is shaky at best. In 2023, over 21% of residents were living below the poverty line, and unemployment remained above the national average. The local economy depends on agriculture, logistics, and public employment, all sectors that struggle when the economy contracts. Another downturn could bring Stockton right back to the brink. Number 7, Shreveport, Louisiana. Quietly sliding into crisis, Shreveport is often overlooked, but it shouldn't be. The city's job market is weak, and over 25% of its population lives in poverty. Much of the local economy relies on oil and gas, which is highly volatile. Add in poor infrastructure and underfunded public services, and you've got a recipe for collapse. A strong enough recession could gut Shreveport's already fragile economy. Number 6, Anchorage, Alaska. You wouldn't expect it, but Anchorage is walking on economic thin ice. The city relies on 3 pillars: oil, tourism, and military spending. When oil prices drop or federal budgets tighten, Anchorage feels it fast. In recent years, the city has seen rising homelessness, a shrinking workforce, and cuts to public programs. The cost of living is high, and supply chains are stretched. A national economic crash could isolate Anchorage in more ways than one. Number 5, Cleveland, Ohio. Once the heart of American manufacturing, Cleveland still hasn't fully recovered from the industrial collapse of the late 20th century. The city has tried to reinvent itself through healthcare and tech, but deep poverty and crime remain persistent issues. Nearly 30% of residents live below the poverty line, and entire neighborhoods have been left behind. During recessions, jobs vanish and housing prices plummet. Cleveland's grip on recovery could easily slip away again. Number 4, Tucson, Arizona. Tucson may have sunshine, but its economy is in the shade. The city relies on government jobs, tourism, and the University of Arizona. Those might sound stable until budget cuts or travel slowdowns kick in. The poverty rate sits above 20%, and affordable housing is growing scarce. A sudden recession could send Tucson into economic freefall, dragging thousands of families down with it. Number 3, Hartford, Connecticut. The insurance capital of the world is in trouble. Hartford has been losing population for years, and in 2017, it came close to declaring bankruptcy. While it's home to several major corporations, the tax base has shrunk dramatically, and public services are stretched thin. With nearly 30% of its residents living in poverty, another financial shock could push Hartford past the point of no return. Number 2, Modesto, California. Modesto's economy is tightly wrapped around agriculture, and that's a serious problem in times of economic or environmental instability. The city's unemployment rate regularly exceeds the national average, and water shortages threaten its most important industries. When farming slows down, so does everything else, from processing plants to truck drivers. A national downturn could send Modesto into an economic tailspin. Number 1, Gary, Indiana. Gary might already look like it's collapsed, and that's exactly why it tops this list. Once a steel powerhouse, Gary has lost over half its population since its peak. Abandoned homes and empty factories dominate the landscape. With one of the highest poverty rates in the country and very few economic drivers left, a national recession won't just hurt Gary, it could finish it off. Recovery is nearly impossible when there's nothing left to build on. These cities aren't just names on a list, they're real communities where millions of people live, work, and try to thrive. But as the economy grows more fragile, not all places will survive the storm. Some are already teetering on the edge, and when the next recession hits, they may not make it back. Is your city safe, or just lucky so far?